We're live.
Hey! Good evening, boys.
Hey!
Hey, West
Happy
Coast.
Friday. Hey,
How we doing?
East Coasters. We are good.
Hey, Mike. I had a pitch while we were waiting for you.
Yeah.
Jokes and jamokes.
Jokes. Jamokes.
It'll be our other website. Our other podcast /
An umbrella subsidiary of
sure. Booze Dancing Media Incorporated. Or
The
Global.
expansion continues.
An empire.
Consolidated Nonsense, Inc.
When are we starting the publishing empire, too?
Well,
That
we
means
do
we
have
have
a
to
publishing
buy it.
empire. Oh, you mean actual paper?
Yes, actual paper.
Paper's dead.
I don't know.
Paper. Paper's dead.
Paper sold yesterday.
Yeah,
Still,
something
yeah.
like that.
Paper's
Hey.
bad for the environment.
You want to
It's
run the
true.
intro real quick?
Run.
Yeah,
I
run the
always like
intro real quick.
intros.
All right, let's run our intro, and then we'll give a little chat and let everybody know what we're doing tonight. Welcome to the murder table.
Cheers.
Salud. Oh, cheers.
Oh, cheers. Salud.
Sir,
Cheers. Cheers.
Slunch, a caipirinha.
Like a Martinelli, but as you said, with a kick.
We do a little swirl. Or zat.
Or zot. Appetizer? Appetizer. That makes me sad, but you know what makes me happy? Whiskey.
Cacao.
Cacao.
It's everything I thought it would be and less smelly. Hey!
Every time it gets me.
Guess you? Where? Right here?
Right
Right here? Is it like a noose? Is it like this?
I feel tighten.
Oh! All right, well, we're going to loosen you up with some lovely spirits.
I think
We
so.
have
I
not
think
done
so.
this for quite a while.
I know, it's been a long time.
We've done that podcast thing,
We have.
Uh-huh.
and we have not done a live stream in quite a while. This is kind of exciting.
I know.
And
It's
I
very
haven't
live.
been, and I haven't been camera ready for years, so it hasn't gotten better.
Yeah. Yeah. Oddly enough, the technology hasn't changed since the last time we did this. It's still bad for us.
Yeah.
But we've probably deteriorated a little bit more.
We've gotten worse, and the technology has kind of stayed the same.
We have biodegraded.
I think you
We
might
are
be right.
past biodegradation. Degradation? Is that hard?
I don't
That's
know.
hard to
I don't know.
The whiskey gives me my half-life, though. So,
Uh-huh.
you know,
There you go.
Thank God,
it'll take
right?
years to
Thank
get rid
God.
of me.
Uh-huh.
So, how are we guys doing? We have not
Good.
done this and chatted for a bit. We all good?
Doing
End of the
well.
work
okay.
week.
Thank
Nothing
God.
like it. Nothing like a Friday for drinking.
And this
Friday
is a
Night
good
Live.
Friday.
Yeah.
It's a good Friday because it's really the beginning of a short week.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And next week is kind of a blah week, and we don't have to really do much, and it's probably slow at work, and you're going to check out like at noon. Angel's not going to go to work. He's going to stay home.
And then it all rolls
Am
into.
I right?
Yeah.
Ah,
And then it all
you're damn
rolls
right.
into the holidays. The holiday
Yes,
stuff.
it all rolls into that.
yes.
Yep.
Cooking.
And Mike gets to make his magic stuffing.
Yes.
Magic stuffing.
4-page
stuffing.
recipe.
You know, by the way, we're going to do a Wednesday night
Single
live
space.
stream of Mike making stuffing.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I
that's
need to
gonna
get
be-
like John Cleese to read it, though. That would be, or Brian Cox, just to go through my mother's recipe. It's so
Yeah,
exact.
But if Brian Cox reads it, it's going to be rated R.
It's
Then
just-
it's just not going to be good.
Keep it clean, boys. Keep it clean.
You let
Exactly.
someone with extensive OCD write a stuffing recipe, and it's just so exacting. But it comes out the same every single time, so I can't complain.
That's right.
It's all about consistency, man. Consistency.
Exactly.
Homogenization.
Yep.
So
Yes.
should we roll the video for our first and only guest tonight?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah. We got
Yeah,
our
let's go.
dear, the great
Yeah, we don't-
Elijah Ammon. Is it Ammon? Ammon? How do you say it?
We'll find out when he's on. Well,
All right, we're going to find out. But let's roll a quick intro as to
it's
what we're doing
it's definitely
tonight.
a mystery in the industry.
Yes,
There we go.
yes. All right, do it.
Hey now.
Hello, Elijah.
Yeah,
That music got me pumped up. I was
Yeah.
feeling it. I was.
I
That
was
was
pretty
nice.
excited. It was
Yeah.
nice.
See, we
Yeah.
bring you out,
That
man.
was
We bring you
great.
out.
That's probably the
Before we
best
get too
intro I've
far
had.
on, before we get too far in this, we gotta find out the answer to the biggest question of the evening. How do you say your last name?
Okay, so this is.
I know it's a running joke in your.
It is a
corporation
running
that you work
joke.
for.
It is a running joke, and it's plagued me my whole life. But the reference I use, and this is I'm from the Northwest using this word. We were talking about it earlier, but it's pronounced Ammon, like salmon.
Ah, all right, good to know.
Wow.
So
Boom.
yes,
Who
Just-
knew?
Just
Ammon
like the way
like
it's
salmon.
spelled. It's like the way it's spelled.
Yeah,
Except
exactly
for all
like
those
the
extra
way it's
letters.
spelled,
Except for
but
those other
The L
letters.
is silent.
Yeah.
The L in there is silent.
Yeah.
And
Hey,
not
and speaking
existent.
of salmon, how were the snacks?
Ooh, were the snacks good there?
How was the green room?
In the green room?
In the, the virtual snacks.
Yeah, huge
You're
platter,
virtually
everything.
not
Yeah,
existent.
it was great.
All right, you got to clean up though. We're not cleaning up. I'm
Yes,
just telling you.
yeah.
That's the rule.
Elijah, welcome.
Yes.
We're very excited to talk to you tonight and chat, and we should probably give him a little bit of an intro. Elijah is the sales manager of the Americas
Indeed.
for Single Cask Nation. The Americas, all of them. How many are
North,
there?
North, South, and Central.
I believe,
yes.
I believe.
Yes.
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 Americas would imply all of that, right?
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I'm just clarifying. That's all.
Yeah.
How's the Ecuadorian market for you?
You know what? That has yet to be explored, but
What the hell?
I've kind of, quote unquote, for lack of better terms, marked my territory.
There you go.
Eventually,
2022.
Yeah. Central and South America, we're coming for you.
All right,
Whiskey
cool.
Fest Panama.
Yeah.
I hear very nice things about Costa Rica.
Hey, you know what? I'm excited for when I get the opportunity to eventually go down there. So,
There you go.
Panama, that's really critical with that canal thing right now with all the logistics issues.
Yeah.
Very, very important.
Yep.
Wow. So
Yeah.
before we get too far into this whole drinking thing, Elijah, we all know you from social media. I know you from Los Angeles.
mhm.
We share a whiskey club membership together.
Yes.
How did you get into all this crazy, wacky world of spirits and whiskey?
And
Well-
more importantly, why do you talk to Aaron?
Yes.
Yeah, why is that? I don't get it.
Well,
Because he and I have no friends.
not to butter Aaron up, but I have to say,
gross.
within the whiskey world, Aaron is one of my favorite people.
Ah.
Yeah, so I'm privileged to be here. So thank you guys. How did I get involved in this? It's a little bit of a long story, but I don't know how deep you want me to go. But
Deep.
yeah, deep. Okay, so this kind of ages me too. You can kind of tell I've got a little bit of a younger face. So
No.
the way I got involved really with whiskey was and how it started for me. I would just say just spirits in general, but really with whiskey was I blame it on YouTube. A lot of it was because of Ralphie, and basically when I wanted to it was because I was watching a Park and Recs episode, and I was watching Ron Swanson, and he was talking about Lagavulin, and I had this moment. I was like, "What is Scotch, and what is whiskey?" And that's when I YouTubed that, and Ralphie was the first one to come up. And as a result of that, I'm the kind of personality who gets really obsessive, and I have to learn as much as I can about whatever I'm into. Before that, it was Star Wars. It still is, but hence the Whiskey Jedi label. But that's how it started. And then 3 years of that passion eventually led to going to Whiskey Live, which is now called Whiskey and Barrel Night, which is where I saw Aaron just last month. Yeah,
Wow.
just a few weeks ago. And I had a little bit of liquid courage in me as I was going around tasting, and it was much, much bigger a few years ago, especially pre-COVID times. And I came to one table, and the only table that did not reject me, that gave me a business card, and it was Chris Udi, the whiskey redhead. He's the vice president of Impex Beverages, and he said, "Email me." And a few months later, Chris sent me an email, or replied to my initial email, I should say, and then it kind of went from there, and eventually he hired me for Orange County, and that's how I dove into the spirits industry. I was working with JVS Imports, a distributor in California, and that's how I met Aaron and got connected into the Southern California Whiskey Club. But what was cool about JVS is, we not only did we distribute whiskey, but we also distributed rums and mezcals and all kinds of different spirits and even wines, which is not quite my forte, but we had a lot of different, offerings in the portfolio. So, and then while I was working with JVS, I actually met Jason in 2019 on my anniversary. Funny. So I always reference my anniversary as being, the day I married my wife, but it's also the day that I met Jason. So that's
Jason
Johnson. Yeah. Of Single Cask Nation. So, that's kind of what started it all for me. And eventually, as I decided to move out of California and move back up to the Northwest, because my wife and I were having a second kid, and Single Cask Nation extended the offer to join their team, which is a complete honor. And really, Single Cask Nation was a brand that I quickly fell in love with while I was working with JVS, and just wanted to learn and be involved. And so when the opportunity came up, I could not say no. So wow, that's
impressive.
That's how I got here.
You were with JVS for how long?
I was with JVS a little over 3 years.
3 years, and now with Single
Cask Nation. Just at the beginning, I left my last day with JVS was December 30th of 2020, and then joined in February with Single Cask Nation. So
well, congratulations to the new job, to the new daughter, to the new house, all those things,
to the new whiskey shelves. So
closet. Did you build those yourself?
I actually did build this. Yeah.
Nice.
So that was kind of like the first project that I did in this house when I moved it. So
well, we're going to give you a second project. This is more important. The second project is to walk us through our first whiskey that you have generously gotten to us via the JVS Impulse group, right?
Yes. Thank you. So this first whiskey here is our first, I would say, like small batch release as far as Scotch whiskey goes. Yes, we're called Single Cask Nation. And for those who don't know, I know you guys have had Single Cask Nation on a few times and featured Single Cask Nation products, but we're an independent bottler, American independent bottler, bottling in the Scottish tradition. So generally, we like to have the name of whatever distillery that we're collaborating with or we have bottled front and center. But in this case, one, we kind of broke two rules. We did not disclose the distillery, and this is not a single cask. It's a vatting of 5 or 6 casks. 5 of them are unpeated. 1 is peated, and I would say like it's lightly peated. And these are all matured in ex-bourbon cask. And this is from an undisclosed island distillery, not to be confused with Isla. So island. And we have kind of coined the term Wolf Island is what we call the bottle. And if you see here, there is our friends, and some of you may know Greg Schwartz, director of Water of Life Film. This is our second collaboration with the Water of Life film, and there will be more future collaborations, but we're super excited to have this. Another unique thing too is normally we bottle at cask strength. We actually brought this down to kind of up the amount of bottles, and I think it's a great strength to 48.8% ABV. So that's a first for us, is to do a release that's not traditionally like cask strength, but still non-chill filtered, still natural color, you could tell. But this is slowly becoming one of my favorite Single Cask Nations of all time. Just simply because. Go ahead. No. I was just gonna say I like the price point of it. I like the approachability of it, and it's just kind of embodies everything I like about Scotch whiskey, all jammed into a bottle.
And it's got a cool label.
Yes, and the label's badass. Come on,
that's a cool looking wolf.
Yes, this is a
there are so many things wrong with that right now.
You know what it is? It's a wolf in sheep's clothing.
That's right.
There you go. So this was actually a shot that was taken by the Water of Life film. So this is an actual picture that they have that we kind of animated onto the label. So it's the real deal.
And so you're booking tours to Wolf Island, right? Taking money from people and let them know, we'll take you out to Wolf Island. Sure. Sure. Hotel accommodations and everything. Just pay it all up front.
Yes.
It's like fire. What's it? That fire festival?
Yeah. I know.
The fire festival of whiskey.
How many bottles are in this release?
So there's 1,600 bottles.
Because there's 5 casks, you said, right?
Yep. Six casks. Five unpeated, 1 peated. Yeah. So
now, was there any blending, or you just put it all together and that's it? Call it a day.
Well, this came from a vatting of casks that we secured. So we did select the casks that would go into this blend. So not necessarily like there was a certain amount of components of this percentage per each cask. Right. It was more of we have more than just these casks from this undisclosed distillery. Let's select 5 that we want to go in here. So the unpeated, the 5 unpeated are actually 9 years old. This is also another rule. We broke 3 rules. Small batch, lower the ABV, undisclosed distillery, I guess a 4th rule. And then we don't have an age statement. All of our Single Cask Nation products usually have an age statement. This because it's going to get more national presence and attention. We just decided not to disclose the age on the label, but I think obviously we will gladly tell everyone what's the age, but it's 9 years old, the unpeated, and then an 8-year-old peated cask, lightly peated cask.
So you can't tell us the distillery. Can you tell us? I don't even want to know what island it is, but can you tell where the island is? There's lots of islands off of Scotland.
You know what? So as much as I would like
a western island, a southern island, a northern island.
Most of the islands are on the west side of Scotland. I will say we have done our previous collaboration, which was an online release that we did with Water of Life, was from also an undisclosed distillery that was distilled in a northern island on the Orkney Islands. There's 2 distilleries up there, and you usually only see one of them. So we've kind of gone a different route. This isn't from that distillery, previous distillery. So, but yeah, I would say kind of leave it to the whiskey gurus to figure out. It's an island distillery. It's not an Isla distillery. And then what distilleries do peated and unpeated expressions. So we'll just leave it to guess. And, I'm sure
it smells wonderful. I don't
know
if
it does. Yes. It tastes wonderful.
Yes.
We did.
And it's interesting. I may have gone in. By the way, I didn't realize it was a low ABV.
We missed a step, Aaron. You're getting sloppy.
Oh yeah, we got ding 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 ding.
We didn't ding ding. Oh. We didn't do a little slanger or a little cheers, a little chin chin or whatever you like.
Chin chin.
Gentlemen. Cheers.
Cheers.
There we go. All right.
So
now I feel better.
When you're putting this together, does Greg and Greg's team, are they involved with the cask choosing?
Yeah. So to simplify the story, Greg and his team was sent samples of casks that we vetted, right? That we liked and we hoped that they would select. And he ended up choosing the Stones of Stennis and this. So it all worked out. But yeah, he did have involvement from the start. He got to try the sample even before I did. So are
they involved with the artwork on the bottle too?
Yes. Yep. I am 21. Whiskey and donuts.
He better be. He's in this industry.
Yes.
Yeah. His ID says he is. That's all we care about.
Yeah. I've gone into accounts where this is when I started distribution. I was 23 or 24 when I started with JVS, and I've had many times where I've been asked for my ID while I was waiting for a buyer or
can you get your dad and bring him in?
Yeah. So and I would show them my business card and said, I'm here to meet with the buyer. So yeah, I've gotten that a lot.
So when you were didn't you do this at JVS? You worked on these kinds of like special kind of bottlings for clubs and these one-offs, right? So
yeah.
It must be kind of fun. It's different than the regular release stuff, and working with some club and group to bring something into just for them.
Yeah, no, and that's kind of part of the reason why I joined Single Cask Nation is. Jason and Joshua saw my success with working with Single Cask, and that's what started us. We have a Single Cask program at Single Cask Nation, obviously, but like for clubs and bars, restaurants, retailers, things like that, and now a film group like this. This was in the works for a while though, before I joined. So, but that's something I do really enjoy. I like working with groups. I like working with bars, retailers, and bringing in something to make their own, like something that they can take ownership. Yeah, it has.
It's crazy how much you see everywhere in every brand, every store, every restaurant, bar has to seem like their own barrel of something.
We could thank probably the bourbon industry for that, and probably the big bourbon conglomerates, and then all the bourbon community for making that take off. But I would say it's a little more difficult with Scotch whiskey. You don't see it as frequently unless you get the really, really nerdy groups, but Ben Homan, my guess, Scapa.
Well, we know that they already did a Orkney release before, and we know that this is not an Orkney release.
Yes, true.
So
true.
I'm sorry, Ben. Wrong.
That was rude, Aaron.
That was rude. So these before we get too far along, this 8th release is actually out in the wild. You can go to the store and buy it.
Yes.
These are all hit American shores.
Yes. They retail release 8 is 7 different offerings. We have the Water of Life, the small batch Single Cask Nation, the undisclosed Water of Life film, and then there's one rum, which we're tasting tonight, and then 5 other Scotch whiskeys, including a grain whiskey. So we've got quite the variety as far as this release, and it's coming to California and is slowly making its way over to the East Coast. Might take a little time, but I know it's making its way right now. And for those, like I always get this question, for those looking for bottles, our importer, Impex Beverages, is great at helping people locate bottles, especially our friend Sam Filmus, the president of Impex Beverages. So if I'm sure he would even be okay throwing out the email, but it's on their website. But they're great at connecting people looking for bottles. But yes, it is slowly making its way out in the world. It is in California for sure right now. So yeah,
this is very nice. I did
not realize that.
Yeah,
it really is. What
really,
you said?
really nice.
You told me this before. I can't remember what the price point with this. Basically, retail was. Wasn't that much?
Yeah, it's we're looking probably at around $90, which traditionally for Single Cask Nation releases, because we kind of have especially with our age statement single cask whiskeys, it's usually for every year is about $10, $11. So this release, especially with lowering the ABV, we're kind of getting a more friendly price, but still not lacking on quality or all the things that we look for. We're like, for example, we're big mouthfeel, texture.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a really nice one to it.
Yes.
It's not super oily, but it's got a little, just enough.
Yeah, Yeah, it's there. Like it's, and I think it develops as you sip it more and more. Which that's, anytime a whiskey's watered down, I tend to get nervous. Like if I see a 43% whiskey, but this 48.8, like we have a joke within Single Cask Nation that we say, if you pop the cork on a Friday and then recycle the bottle on a Sunday. So it is one of those bottles. It's dangerous. Yeah. It's just,
and at 48.8, there's still a lot of heat.
Oh, there is.
Like if this came in at 55, it might be too hot. You might have to. You personally might want to water it down a little because it's just too spicy at that point.
But I'm not sure that I would have guessed 48.
Yeah,
if I didn't know.
Yeah,
a little hotter. Yeah.
But
then, at the very end, I mean, you get the pepperiness kind of lingers for a while.
Yeah.
But then you get some sweetness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it kind of like coats the teeth a little bit. Like almost like a little, not syrupy, but there's a little bit of viscosity to it.
Yeah.
That's nice.
It's really nice.
One thing that I really like about this whiskey, I'm like a salty, savory kind of guy, and I feel like that hits all those components for me. Like that sea spray, sea salt, a little bit like honey, orchard fruits. I don't know. For me, like I was saying earlier, we do have that lightly peated cask in there. And I think it's not a dominating piece of the whiskey. I don't think it overwhelms the whiskey, but it's there, and it's more just a complement to everything else that's going on. Mm-hmm. And that's what I really like about this. Again, it's kind of got a little bit of everything as far as like what you think of Scotch whiskey, right? A little bit of peat, a little bit of sea salt, a little bit of like that fresh orchard fruits, honey, like toffee, all those things.
I think the peak is like a little bit of barbecue with a little bit of burnt sugar.
Yeah.
Characteristic to it, which kind of, again, wraps around everything. You get the sea spray, you get a lot of the whiskey flavor, you got all the vanilla, and then it gives you a little bit extra. Is the peat from that island, or are they using peated barley from somewhere else?
I am not sure. That's a great question. I don't want to say something wrong here. Yeah.
I've asked my one good question. I'm done.
Yeah.
Michael Nolan.
Me. Yeah.
Michael Nolan, our friend, has popped in with some a comment.
Yes.
Jason and Joshua should be sending you to Chicago to lead a couple of tastings of Wolf Island. We would ask which island, I promise.
Yes.
Michael Nolan is the king or mayor of Chicago.
Yes, he is.
Most definitely.
He is.
That's really nice. That's really nice
whiskey. Really nice.
That's very good.
Definitely like those.
Yeah.
So before we move on, boys, I have Thanksgiving is just around the corner here, and I have a question for all of you. What's your least favorite Thanksgiving dish?
Yams.
Easy.
Yams.
Yams.
You mean yams in general, or the yams with all
candied
the gross...
candied yams? All that. Not a fan.
I think I may agree with you.
Not a fan.
I think it's pretty safe that my mother-in-law is not listening. So
she actually texted me earlier.
Did she? You got a text from Linda? The yams are okay. I can kind of live without the corn, but the stuffing is good though. The stuffing and the turkey, do a little
good. We want to know what we
what I don't like. Yeah, I think if I had to go with one thing that I wasn't crazy about, I think I'd also go with the yams.
Wow.
Not that I'm opposed to yams. Maybe I just don't like this particular preparation.
I'm going to go against the grain, but I just do not like turkey. I think turkey is dry.
That's the worst part of the meal.
I've never had.
You eat that last.
Yeah, exactly. I've never had a good turkey, and so if someone wants to send me or a recipe, okay,
let me tell you one thing I've learned. Okay, the spatchcocking of the turkey. If you do the spatchcock turkey, you get go on Serious Eats. Not to plug them, and they're not a sponsor, but hey, Kenji, if you're listening,
we love you. Sponsor.
But if you spatchcock the bird.
Is that really, where you add like butter under the skin?
No. You cut the back. You take the back out and you lay it flat, right? Okay. And you cook it at a really high temperature.
Like butterfly.
It was the best skin ever. Like I've never liked the turkey skin because like I think like when they cook it too long, it actually dries out.
Yeah,
it's
like leather. Yeah.
This was fantastic.
Well,
this was really good.
That's what I don't like about turkeys, because I like my meats, but turkey to me is always dry. I've never found like
because it's overcooked.
It's such
to cook the legs, you got to overcook the breast.
Right.
It's almost like you got to cut the legs off and put the legs in first, and then put the breast in afterwards.
But I'm telling you, look up the spatchcocking thing. That works really well.
Okay.
Yeah, because you kind of flatten it out. Yeah. Right. So everything kind of cooks evenly.
Yeah.
But it doesn't overcook.
No.
Well, you have to just not cook it as long.
Right. You got to keep an eye on it. I mean, you got to check that temperature. And it's like, once you get within like 15 degrees, you got to check it like every 15 minutes because you go over by like a couple degrees and that's it. It's shot.
Yeah.
So, but that was an eye opener. I only did it once and it was really good. So
I am considering doing that as well, but I'm definitely going to get the smoker out and smoke a turkey. I'm just not sure if it's going to be flat or whole or not flat. We'll see. We will see.
That's one of my goals is to consume some, don't think dirty here, but I want some of Aaron's meat.
Hey, now.
Yeah. I see his pictures of smoked meats, briskets, and now he's saying smoked turkey. Come on. That sounds delicious.
Come on.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah. Yep. All righty. We are ready to roll on to number 2, I believe, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right.
So where are we going?
Yeah.
So we're leaving Wolf Island and we're going to another place.
We are leaving Wolf Island.
We're leaving.
Which is my favorite MTV sitcom / young youth drama.
Yeah. Hey, this isn't what we watch when we drink, but it can be.
Oh, right. Dang it. We could change.
But it can be. It can be. It's one of our many channels.
So this next whiskey is actually from one of my all-time favorite distilleries. It's Linkwood, which is, for those who don't know, it's really a blender's dream as far as a malt whiskey goes. It's the backbone for a lot of the Diageo blends, especially famously Johnny Walker, as far as the malt whiskey component of Johnny Walker. And I think it just does so well in all types of maturations. I believe this is our third Linkwood release. Our first one. Yes.
I'm pouring it and it's almost got like a pinkish hue.
It does. It looks
at least in this light.
We will get to that. I don't really have a white background, but it does look like rosé, right?
Yeah, it's freaky. It's really freaking me out for a second there. I thought that was a problem. Okay, I'm glad it's not just me. I'm sorry. Continue.
Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with this. It's beautiful. Our first Linkwood release we did was from retail release number 7, which was the last release, and it was even lighter than the Wolf Island. But it, strangely enough, it was matured fully in refill sherry, but it was like heavily used refill sherry, and more kind of, I think, was just like a nice component to, the Linkwood style spirit. And then we also have, that's currently actually up in Seattle. Shout out to the Barrel Thief. They selected their own cask of Linkwood and it's matured in a first fill bourbon hogshead. This one was matured most of its life, 11 of these 12 years, in a refill bourbon hogshead. So not a lot going on, but this was re-racked and finished in a first fill ruby port cask. And generally, at least for me, I'll speak for myself, I'm not a huge port fan, especially tawny port, and what it does to whiskey, because it like tends to overpower, right? Like that, like, and I feel like sometimes it doesn't, trying to think of the word, but it doesn't really mesh well with whiskey is if you don't do it right. Like sometimes I'll taste like port, then I taste whiskey. For me, like this whiskey, it's just like you smell Linkwood on the nose. I almost don't smell port, but if you like spend time with different Linkwoods, it's so distinctly like Linkwood. And yeah, this cask is just like the fruitiness from it. Just again, like elevates this whiskey, and makes it really, really delicious. Yeah,
Angelo, this is our kind of whiskey. It's a whiskey with a 5.
Yes, we like 5s.
Yes, so we're looking at 54.4% ABV.
Yowza.
So the pies are the best part of the meal. You get a pilgrim sampler, slice of all the pies.
Yes,
save the room.
Well, that's so true, Michael. Thank you. My mom makes this apple pie, crumbled apple pie. I'd eat the whole pie in one sitting. Yeah. That's all I could eat. Yeah, gosh.
So you don't eat the turkey because you'd rather have pie. Makes a lot more sense.
Exactly. Yeah. Why would I want a dry turkey if I could have a juicy, delicious apple pie?
Did you guys pick the cask and then age it that last year in the Ruby Port, or did they offer it to you that way?
That was offered to us that way. Some instances we do have, and we're actively starting. In the next few releases, you will see our re-racking program in effect. For example, we have a release from retail release number 8, which is an inch fad, which is a lightly peated Loch Lomond that was matured in bourbon cask, and then it was finished in a Grand Cru Bordeaux cask, which was actually from last year's Penderyn cask. We released a Penderyn that was matured in Grand Cru Bordeaux. So we use that cask. American pie.
It's like apple pie.
Yeah. Yes. So this instance, this was what we were fortunate enough to purchase it this way.
Right.
And we have Linkwood that we will re-rack. We have whiskeys that are currently that we have re-racked. We bought cognac casks. We bought PX cask, sherry, Oloroso sherry cask. You'll see some whiskey, some spirits that will be a part of our re-racking program, and we're going to actively do that because we've taken on a lot of different brokers and contracts and things like that that will send us casks that maybe aren't the most active, or they were matured 10 years in deadwood. Right. So it's time to add a little spice to them. I think in the same release, another example of our own re-racking. We have a Girvan, which is a grain whiskey, lowland grain whiskey, that was matured in refill bourbon, but just wasn't doing it. And then we re-racked into first fill bourbon, which is interesting. We're finishing in a bourbon cask matured whiskey and a bourbon cask whiskey. But we had 4 years in first fill bourbon, made that whiskey so much better.
Right. There's just so much more left in the wood. So
exactly.
It pulls more of it out. Yeah,
exactly. So this one here, I am curious what you guys think, but I'm just,
the first thing that hits me is there's really no vapor on the nose, even though it's 54.4. And like you said, it's so fruity, but it isn't like port fruit. It isn't like, dark stone fruits or like old raisins or any of that. It's really just like apples, pears. It's like a bright fruit. And even though it's 54.4, I'd swear the first whiskey was a higher ABV. But that Water Life whiskey seemed hotter than this. Yeah. This is really a nice sipper.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. I do have to say, kind of touching on port, tawny port is traditionally aged in cask, right? And ruby port is not something that's aged in cask. It's something that, like, ruby port is now, especially in the whiskey industry, is used to season wood. So ruby port's not, they don't use a cask to mature or whatever they do, or for a ruby port. So ruby port has become like a seasoning tool for the different industries. So I really like what ruby port does versus what like Mike was talking about, where it's like a lot deeper and it's like kind of that old grandma's furniture kind of deal, mustiness that tawny port brings. So
and
I like
that's
the
one
freshness.
And that's the one where they put that in like 3 months in tawny port, because if you put it in a year, you probably ruin it. It's like we're going to put it. It's in that cask for an afternoon, and then we're done because it can't be in there any longer.
Yeah. Yep.
Elijah, we did Southern California Whiskey Club had a private cask with Kilhoman, in a ruby port cask.
Yeah.
That, as I recall, it's been a while since I've actually opened that bottle. That seemed to have much more of the port on the nose and on the palate. This doesn't have that, which I think I'm not a port fan myself with whiskey so much, but I like drinking port by itself. But it's a dessert thing, and I don't want my whiskey to be a desserty kind of whiskey.
Yeah,
and that's what this is not.
Yeah, I think I remember that Kilchoman. I love that Kilchoman. So that was 8 years in bourbon and then about 6 months in ruby port. On the nose, it smelled like really like that kind of sweet fruit ruby port, but then it had kind of more of that meatiness on the palate. Yeah, this one you're right.
Was the peat?
Yeah. But you're right. This is and I think that's why I think finishes shouldn't be something to just completely mask flaws with the whiskey, right? A finish should be something that complements and just takes that whiskey to the next level. It's not like there's a lot of finished whiskey, especially Scotch whiskey. Like it's just trend over the last few years to, double cask, finished and whatever, and sometimes those finishes can be overwhelming and sometimes they're just too much and it doesn't make sense. But yeah, I think really proud of this, and I don't know. Yeah, there's just almost, and now as I've been sipping it, kind of getting a little like tardiness to it. I don't know, almost like a cranberry, tart.
Yeah. So talk about you. I know Jason and Joshua for a long time, like us. Working with them when you were with JVS, and now working with them as a part of the company. Talk about the philosophy of how casks are chosen and why casks are chosen over. They must get a zillion samples of these things, and how do you kind of separate the ones that you really want from the ones you really don't want?
Yeah, that's a great question. Jason and Joshua are heavily involved. That's like one of their primary roles of selecting casks, right? And I will say, they are some of the most picky people when it comes to cask of whiskeys. They do not compromise, and that's something I really respect. They both have this very interesting process that they have, but I think it's brilliant. And I'll give you an example. We were at a American whiskey distillery, single malt whiskey distillery, which will soon be coming out in the future, probably early next year. Won't share the distillery yet, but I was there on site tasting cask with Joshua, right? And Jason wasn't there, but it's kind of my first time like actually sitting and watching Joshua do the process. And partway into the tasting, Joshua was like, "Hey, this is great. Like, we're tasting through all these fantastic whiskeys." And he's like, "Can we make sure to take home samples of all these whiskeys, right? Instead of just selecting." We were in the warehouse tasting whiskeys. So it was super exciting. But he's like, "Can I take these home?" One, he needed them for Jason, but two, having a controlled environment. Tasting whiskeys in Scotland, in whatever distillery you're in, is always super exciting, right? It always tastes better. I've had some of the best whiskeys, I think, in my life in a warehouse in Scotland. It's just you kind of get goosebumps, and it's very romantic. But they will taste in the morning. They have a day where they taste in the morning. They'll taste together. They use the same glassware. And the things that they're looking for, one is texture. Not only mouthfeel, but also nose texture, right? Like I think this Linkwood is a great example. Like it almost like feels like it's coating your nostrils. Like those are, I would say, the number one thing that they're looking for is texture, right? From there, like it's got to make past the nose test. and then onto the palate and finish. Like they work through the whole whiskey, but it's texture. It's something that they think I think a lot of times there are some bottlers who just bottle things just to get them out, like just to get as much shelf space as possible. Or maybe it's like, oh, we think this group of people will really like this, so we'll bottle this, right? I think it's Jason and Joshua select things that they just really genuinely like they would reach for this bottle, on their shelf. Like that's what they would select. So I'm sure I know they have the Nation in mind while selecting the Nation, Single Cask Nation members. So I know they do, but I think it's more just a genuine like love and kind of passion for spirits, for whiskey.
Sure.
Disclaimer that I'm a Single Cask Nation member, Michael Nolan, who's watching as well. I'm not sure if Ben is too. Ben Holman is. Yes, he is. I've often wondered if Jason and Joshua, when they started, you're picking whiskeys you like, and you build this community of all these people from all over the world who gravitate towards your taste buds a bit, right? But you also have this nation state has their own taste buds, and there's a back and forth conversation between members and Jason and Joshua over the years, and they kind of their tastes also reflect the group as well, and it's kind of a back and forth conversation to create. We know we like this stuff. We're pretty sure, we do know that this community is going to like this juice that we've chosen. I think and they know that we, the Nation, has also developed some of the same skills, not in the same professional way, the same tastes as them. We now all like nose. We also like mouthfeel. Jason was the first one that ever told me about chewing whiskey.
Yeah.
Right? Right. Yeah. We all had that discussion with him.
Yes.
Only person I probably still since it really is still kind of cocksure about that's what you do. That's how you get your mouth ready to drink whiskey, right?
Yep.
I think that philosophy it feels like that is still the case, and with everything that they do, right? They are choosing for themselves, but they know that the Nation likes what they do and their philosophy.
Yeah.
In flavor and in mouthfeel and aroma.
Yeah. Jason actively preaches mouthfeel, so I'm not surprised he was the first to preach that. So but yeah, I think it's
I remember sitting with Joshua at Craigellachie, I think. And we were given in the tasting room a taste of a Mortlock. I think that was at Craigellachie, right? And I remember the first thing I think he said this to me. He said, Joshua Feldman would like this because of the mouthfeel. And I didn't really understand it. It was too long ago. I didn't really understand what he meant. I didn't really know much about Mortlock. And now, after years, I totally understand that. Yeah. Now I get it.
Yeah.
Chew your whiskey.
What have we done?
That is awesome.
Now sideways.
Where did you find this? I want that photo.
It's on the blog.
I want that as my
Jubilee.
Boozdancing.com.
Oh, beautiful.
I think that was on one of the bottles from Jubilee, number 4, I think.
Yeah. Was it? It should have been. I'll tell you that.
None of them should have.
I need a kickback, man. I want my commission.
Yeah. I think kind of an important point to convey, especially Aaron touching on what you had said. I think really it comes down to when you see the Single Cask Nation name and there's a new retail release or a new, new project, like for example, this undisclosed distillery, no age statement, lower ABV, right? Over the last 10 years plus, Jason and Joshua have built a community and built a brand, right, that people can trust, right? And I think, as my role in sales and being an ambassador of sorts, I want to kind of continue that tradition. Like, you see the Single Cask Nation name, Jason and Joshua's palate, and it's something you can trust, right? It's something that like has gone through their process. And that's I think that's kind of the mantra of Single Cask Nation.
I think you're appreciating the fact that they're not bottling every cask that's offered to them.
Yeah.
And they're not just out there trying to fill SKUs and get something out. We want 10 bottles a month kind of thing. Yeah. They're very selective in what they're doing. And over time, everyone can appreciate their flavor profile matches your flavor profile, or it's close. Yeah. And, which ones to get. Exactly. And I think the variety they bring out too, where it isn't, 3 distilleries and we just keep taking samples from them, that they're all over the place with the samples, that they're getting not just, it's another Linkwood. No, it's not. Well, Linkwood comes out, but it's not everyone's a Linkwood. Yeah. And something came out, the Water of Life from the undisclosed island. And they're going all over to get it, which is great too.
Yeah. That's well said. Well said. I'll drink to that.
Retail versus online. Talk about that for a second. You got you're now on number 8 releases in the United States. What are you in Europe? And what are you on Europe? 3, 4?
Going on to number 3. Going 3? On to
and then you also
rest of the world.
Does Canada? What's Canada's?
Canada had their own. Well, it was a mixture of U.S. and rest of the world releases based on cask size. But that Canada, I will confidently say Canada will be getting their own. Canada's a huge market, and I love the Canadians out there. Shout out to all the Canadians.
Elijah, pro Canada. Yeah. Let's put that out there.
Should we play the national anthem? Should we break out a little "Oh Canada"?
Yeah. I'm pro Canada. Amazing whiskey community. They'll definitely be getting their own release in the future. So, we've got online versus retail. So Single Cask Nation started in 2011 as a paid membership only. And the offerings were made available through Single Cask Nation's online shop. In 2017, they kind of branched out into this retail space, get the name, have a consistent place on the shelf. As we rotate through all these retail releases. I think my look, I'm just venting here, but sometimes my frustration with the nation is the online releases are always so exciting, and people, how come I can't get Single Cask Nation? If you look at our site, there are 2 SKUs available right now, Bingley rum, Australian rum, and a Crofton Gad. There's still plenty of bottles. But most of the time, if you will see on singlecasknation.com, most of the time things are sold out, right? And so people are asking, "What? Like, give me my bottles? I want a piece of Single Cask Nation." Well, retail release, and I don't think there's at this point in Single Cask Nation's career, it's more of the online bottlings are generally more reserved for special projects or like bottles that we can't have like competing on the shelf. For example, like Wild Turkey. Our Wild Turkey releases really elevated Single Cask Nation, but Campari is not going to let Single Cask Nation put a Wild Turkey on the shelf, right? It makes sense. It makes complete sense. So we have these online releases, but the retail releases, I think, as you see with this Water of Life film, for example, that's like a special, unique release that you can only get via retail. And I think the retail releases, I hope the gaps start slowly coming together, the bridge here. of retail and online. I always get asked the question about online versus retail, but yeah, retail releases, it's not like they're lesser or one's better than the other. It's just another way of getting bottles into the nation's hands. So
it must be hard on the retail side because there are so many. Just going into a Total Wine or a Bevmo, there are lots of independent bottlers.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Big brand, big names, and everyone's got their club picks or their store picks, and there's got to be a fight for shelf space, right?
Yeah. I do think any brand, well, especially small brands, are going to have that uphill battle, and independent bottlings, like really, Single Cask Nation is a niche within a niche within a niche within a niche within a niche.
You say that often.
Yeah. So and then the online bottles are within a niche, and the retail bottles are within a niche. There's always going to be that uphill battle. But we have so many retailers across America and in the rest of the world and in Canada that are proud supporters that give us that space that really are ambassadors for our brands. It's funny, like we always kind of tout like, oh, we're being free ambassadors for all these distilleries that we work with, like Linkwood, for example, which doesn't have their own there's a flora and fauna release that's pretty limited, and then they have Diageo will release. I think the only other release I've seen is their 37-year-old, which is pretty expensive. But like independent bottlers are in Single Cask Nation, like this is our chance to be a ambassador, for that offering. And now we have retailers kind of doing the same to us, like being great ambassadors for our whiskeys, for our expression. So yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, should we move on to number 3?
Yes. I like that idea.
And this is a rum, correct?
This is a rum. And
where's it from?
It's from Brazil. It's from
Brazil.
Is that part of the Americas?
Yes, it is.
It's in his territory.
Yes, this isn't my territory.
It's not?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Oh, it is. Okay.
But yeah, but I've never been to Brazil. Here. Hopefully one day. But now I might be butchering this pronunciation. But if you sound confident when you say the name of whatever distillery, like anyone will believe you. So from
it's
my
not
research,
what you say, it's how you say it.
Exactly. Right. From my research, this rum is coming from the Epris distillery, and this is like you said, this is a Brazilian rum from Sao Paulo, Brazil, and traditionally Brazil has a sugarcane distillate that is called cachaça.
Cachaça. There you go.
Yes, yes.
Oh, can we make caipirinhas?
Yes, and I love caipirinhas.
Yeah,
but
this
is they are very dangerous. This is from my understanding, this distillery does sugarcane distillate, but they also do column distilled molasses based distillate as well. So do I know exactly what is in this? Could it be a blend? Could it just be all molasses column distilled? I know I can pretty confidently say it's not sugarcane pot still, it's not sugarcane, all purely sugarcane based. But yeah, that's especially as you taste it, you would know if you've had those high ester, really agricole like rums. Cachaça often has that and traditionally has that, but this was aged in a first fill bourbon cask, and you can see it's a little darker than not quite as dark as the ruby, but it's got that more amber color. Yeah. And yeah, fully matured 10 years in first fill bourbon, and it's 52.6% ABV. And yeah, nose.
There's a little funk going on there.
Yeah, you get a little bit of funk. So that's why I'm convinced it might be like a blend of, molasses, sugarcane, blend here. So
I'm getting like a little chocolate, a little bit of anisette, little licorice.
Ooh.
Yep. Yeah.
So
that's great.
So how did they stumble upon this?
Yeah, how does this get to their desk?
Do they go through the broker, or can they actually talk to the distiller directly?
There are some rum distillers that we've talked directly, but in this instance, this came from brokers.
Okay.
For those who don't know, most selections, we do have Single Cask Nation is proud to say we have a lot of distillery direct relationships with whiskeys, distilleries, different spirits all around the world. But to make it really less romantic, most of the time there's a third-party broker involved that has casks in their own warehouse, around the world. And yeah, this is something we kind of stumbled upon through a broker, and I think it's excellent.
Wow. There's tobacco
I would say
in there.
Yeah, I would say this is, of all the Single Cask Nation rum releases, to me, this has more of the rum-like qualities that I'm looking for, as far as like the funk goes, right? I always like, when I drink rum, I'm like, I want it to taste like rum. There's a lot of, especially some of the rums that add sugar to them, are kind of sanitized in a way, kind of more of a whiskey drinker style rum, something that's like sweet, smooth. For me, this is like you're saying, it's got a little funk. It's you're drinking rum. You're not drinking like.
Yeah. There's a little bit of ashiness to it, or I'm not sure what the smoke.
No, definitely the tobacco. You had said tobacco, and it's kind of
It's really.
This is not a mixer.
There's a sweetness.
No, why would you do that?
This is not a mixer.
Why would you do that? So I take back the Caipirinha. This is not Caipirinha rum.
No.
No.
Old fashioned.
So Elijah.
Yeah.
Definitely for an old fashioned. So you at JVS, you were not just, of course, selling whiskey. You were into various things.
Yes.
Although you probably started off more in the whiskey world.
Yes.
How has your rum palate matured or grown?
I would say I took a liking to rum right away, even like early in my whiskey journey. And fortunately, this is a shout out to a very special, a great rep who's in Sacramento. His name's Drew Garrison. And he was kind of my person who pointed me and taught me a lot about rum, and kind of what rum should taste like. So he's very picky, but like that was, I had a lot of great connections and networks through JVS that really, taught me about rums and really elevated my palate. So we had great rums. We had more of the molasses, column distilled style rums like Lemon Heart. Were more of a clean style rum, but then, we also had some independent bottlings. In fact, I wasn't there for them, but Impex Collection has had a great selection of some of the Jamaican rums that they had from Long Pond and Clarendon. So there's I and to some of my retailers too, do another shout out to Mixing Glass in Southern California. That's another retailer that some of the craziest rums that I've had, and really a ton of education there. So I would say, compared to the average whiskey drinker, quote unquote whiskey drinker, I would say I'm a little more on the radical side as far as rum goes. I like my funky rums. I like my Provenance driven rums. I like, the pot still, sugar cane, like it's, and that's why I think I like this one. It's almost like a winter warmer. There's like some funk in it, but there's also like that tobacco note. I really like the licorice note that Mike said. Like, it's almost comforting in a way, and it's like a touch salty too.
This is where it's like open fermentation tanks, and they're throwing in like old chairs and boots and whatever they got laying around, and it's all in there. This is it's a little bit of everything.
Really good. The the rum thing is weird to me because there's a little bit of almost like Japanese whiskey issues with it because there's no rules, right?
Yep.
Not very few. So this country makes it this way, and this country makes it this way, and this island makes it this way.
Yeah, but that's what makes it fun, though, Aaron.
I agree, but it's you can't know it all. I think to some extent, and
you know what that means? Drink more.
That's right. So
we just lost Aaron.
I think we just lost him. Oh,
he just froze up.
I'm back. Are you there?
Oh, you're back. Okay.
Who would thought that there'd be rum from Brazil?
Yeah.
I've never would have thought it, right? Yeah. And it's delicious.
Yeah. And that's the other thing, not just rum from Brazil, but good rum.
Right.
Yeah. This is really good.
Yeah.
I think too, like, I hope at Single Cask Nation, as we release more and more rums, that we show our nation members, like, introducing people to great rums, but also those who are rum enthusiasts, that they really appreciate our selections, and showing kind of the culture and history behind some of these rum distilleries. Cachaça has been made like it's a national drink, like for Brazil, right? And I think there is like you were saying, Aaron, there is a little bit of a stigma with rum, right? There's no regulation on it.
You don't know what you're getting all the time.
Yeah, I think there are industry leaders though, and bottlers, distilleries that are saying, hey, this is how we're going to do things. We're going to hold ourselves to this standard. So, and I think that's a great idea. But yeah, there are rums where you have additives, you have sugar added, you have caramel coloring added. There's a lot of I think, especially in America, we like our transparency. We like our products, like what we're consuming, to be as transparent as possible. And I think a lot of the regions, like throughout the world, like that's not like a priority. So that's why, you have these rums made the way they are. But yeah, I think I've heard for a long time that rum is on the rise, but I don't know. I don't know when it's going to hit its peak or whatever, but
it sure feels like it's a category, at least going into a store, you see a lot more of it.
Yeah.
Now, maybe that's true of all spirits, but it feels like it's the volume of titles, our brands, seems to be growing.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's more shelf space now.
Yeah.
Than ever before. And it's not all Bacardi.
Yeah. It's not all.
I think that's the bigger thing. It's not Bacardi and flavored rums.
Yeah, it's not. I call them like the red Solo cup rums, like stuff that you just throw in your ice and whatever, your soda, and you're starting to see a lot more. I don't know, stuff
that's seasonal rum, if you will.
Yeah.
Well, it is, right?
Yeah.
And and Elijah has brought this to Southern California Whiskey Club, is the whole world of mezcal, in the same way, and all the agaves that are out there.
Yeah,
it's another huge category, and that's growing as well. That we're sort of kind of, I want more of that stuff, but it's so much more to learn. It's just so much more information.
So drink it, man. Just
I will say, I haven't, because I actually just received these bottles yesterday. As I'm going to be going out into the nation and sharing and tasting these more. I've tried samples of these, but these are first bottle in hand. Haven't gotten to read the notes, and I just kind of glanced at the notes. I want to show you guys on our labels. I'll just show you briefly. Kind of read a Single Cask Nation label. Our brand, name of distillery, ABV, age. On the side here, we have even more descriptors of, what's going on with this cask. But we call them truncated tasting notes here, and then we also have trademarked, jokingly, but a fluidometer for those who don't like to read, kind of core tasting notes, and then a little meter. But I think Mike and Angela, like, there's some tasting. Everyone kind of hit on some stuff, and Aaron. Here's the tasting notes. A rum for sipping next to a roaring fire. The fruit notes are warm and inviting, while salted licorice and pipe tobacco frame the full experience. Maybe get those chestnuts roasting. So
who wrote that?
Look at that.
That's
who wrote that crap?
I'm 99% sure that's Jason.
We just did. It was like a committee tasting note.
Yeah,
that's a winter warmer. It's a winter warmer. Sit by the fire. It's a winter warmer.
Yeah.
It says it.
Yeah.
Right
this
there.
is going to be one that I'm going to love to smell the glass tomorrow morning.
Oh yes,
yes. Yeah.
This nose is great. This kind of stuff, like tasting this, like gets me away from my whole like sales manager, like working behind spirits industry, and like this gets me excited just as like a consumer.
Sure.
Yeah.
You actually get to take your time.
Mm-hmm.
You have, being in our group with Michael Reese and Shauna, the Dare, who does cocktails, we've all kind of gotten a little bit more cocktail focused, not centric.
Yeah.
Do you ever think about these releases, expressions in terms of cocktails?
I will be honest, I don't. I love my cocktails, and I'm not saying don't pour Single Cask Nation in your cocktails, because I've had a great, I think it was someone made me, we had a Lecheg sherry matured Lecheg, and they put it in an old fashioned, and it was fantastic. But I think as far as cocktails go, maybe I should have more open mind to pouring them into cocktails. And I don't have most people in the industry have some sort of bartending background. I don't, unfortunately. I think it's a great asset to have, but I do enjoy my cocktails. I love like being educated and learning about cocktails and how to build a cocktail, because I think it's similar to like tasting any spirit. Like if you have like a really well balanced and built cocktail, it's some of the best stuff you can have. So I'm trying to even think right now of the 3 releases we tried tonight. Like what would I throw any of these in at?
Well, I think this last one would be just amazing in an old fashioned.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it would be.
That's about the only thing I can think you'd put them in. Make old fashions with them.
Yeah.
Well, and then you don't really need the bitters, because they have so many other flavors to them that you don't have to add a whole lot of other stuff to it. You're like, we already got that note in there. We don't need to add anything else. Mm-hmm. It's like a one glass cocktail.
Yeah.
It's interesting. You get these choices, these picks from Single Cask Nation, and one of the words that we finally have said tonight is balance. And all of these are balanced, right? I don't think we've ever had a Single Cask Nation pick that is over the top in one specific area, right?
Yeah.
There's a balance between whether it's peat or whether it's mouthfeel or whether it's oiliness or saltiness or sulfur, whatever it is. There's always a balance, and it's never too crazy in any direction. So if you're making and that's the goal of making a cocktail, right? You don't want a cocktail that's too sweet. You don't want it too sour. You don't want it too liquor, spirit oriented. So it's a fun game to play, to take a well balanced spirit and create a well balanced cocktail. That's the goal, right?
Now, not being a member, do you go to the different clubs and have samples for people, or are they buying these blind? Just because they know, I had a Linkwood before, I like them again. What do you do?
No, we offer the same. Like we try to offer a tasting experience for anyone who's interested in purchasing a cask. We don't want you to buy it blind. We don't buy things.
I just wasn't sure how you guys.
We don't buy things blind. So and we don't release things blind. So we.
does a club come to you and say, or a retailer and say, we're looking for an Islay whiskey to have branded with our name? Is that the start of the conversation?
Yeah. Usually, sometimes, a lot of the times, people will approach and say, like, this specific distillery. I have a long list, and hopefully, we had a successful launch 2021 of our first like single cask program. I think we launched. I think it was 8 total casks that went throughout the U.S. Single cask program. But I have this huge list of people. We've gotten a lot of like inquiries asking, this is, and I always take notes. I have it all organized. Like, this is what distilleries they like. And it's not always like, for example, we had a private group select a cask that, gave me distilleries that they like, and profiles that they liked, and through a totally different distillery. I don't think they expected it, but they ended up liking it. It hit all their needs, right? So that's the kind of experience we hope, to bring, for the single cask program. People are interested in the single cask program. So yeah, nothing goes blind. So it's all a great tasting experience. So yeah.
Well, I love this one. This is just, it hits all the notes for me for rum.
Yeah.
Mostly the funk. But.
I'm starting to hate you guys a little bit more because, I didn't like rum, and now keep giving us rum. And now I got one more thing I got to drink. You're killing me.
I like
it. You're killing me.
That's another name for the block.
I didn't come to rum through Single Cask Nation.
Hey, Aaron.
Oh, go ahead, Dan.
So we had jokes and jamokes. Well, now we've got like the what do you want to call it? The Mike's downward spiral.
Yeah.
How about that?
The death knell.
Yes.
The death knell.
Another vice. That's me for other, like, any spirit someone gets me into. It's like, I don't need another thing.
Yes, you do.
To be buying, but then I end up doing it.
You got to diversify your portfolio.
Yeah, that's right. You're right.
I sort of blame Single Cask Nation for getting me into mezcal.
Yeah.
Talking to Jason.
That was Miracle Max, right? For you?
Right?
Yeah. Right.
Miracle Max.
Yeah. It's weird. And I don't blame SCN for my rum love, but they've definitely been enabling me.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah.
No, but you have to diversify, because you never know where you're going to be. You never know what someone's going to have. Yeah. So you got to be able to find something you like.
Yep.
And it may not be whiskey that day. It may be mezcal. It may be rum. Yeah. It may be gin. It may be, maybe even vodka. Ugh.
Yeah.
But
so while we're talking about all these, other spirits, and I know you're here to talk about release number 8. Can you give us some kind of heads up on what release number 9 might be, or some online things coming, without being too specific? That going down the. So if you don't listen to the podcast, what's the podcast? One Nation Under Whiskey.
Yes. I'm thinking right now, because I'm trying to be careful of what I'm trying to think of what has already been shared. Us. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what has already been shared so I can maybe reshare that.
You can be very, 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 very non-specific.
Yeah.
Well, first, as part of release 8, we tried these 3 delicious beverages. What else is part of release 8?
To recap,
you can certainly tell us about that.
Yeah, of course. Yes. So we have, obviously, we tried the Water of Life collaboration, or Wolf Island. This Linkwood matured in port, or finished in ruby port. This Epris rum. We also have a Gervin, which I mentioned earlier, which is finished in a first fill bourbon cask. I think it's about 15 years old. We have a Dalyuan, ex-bourbon Dalyuan, a 9-year-old Dalyuan.
They're good. They're rare.
Yes, yeah. So that's another like big workhorse distillery for Diageo. that doesn't get a lot of love. Let me see. How many did I name? That's five. There's a total of 7. So we have Inchfad, which I mentioned earlier.
Loch Lomond, right?
Yeah, lightly peated Loch Lomond. That's finished in our ex-Penderyn Grand Cru Bordeaux cask. And then lastly, come on, Elijah, don't butcher this.
He sells to the Americas.
Yes, I sell to the Americas. Let me
North, South, and Central.
If he butchers this, he's going to be sent to some of the Americas.
Okay.
Mostly he sells to Northwest America.
Just wait.
North America.
Can we get an Thrusk? I just like saying a Thrusk.
Okay. So lastly, I knew this. Actually, Whiskey and Donuts would be, because this is Whiskey and Donuts, who was on the comments earlier. It's one of his favorite distillers. But we have our first ever Ben Rinnes, which is another like big workhorse distillery. I'm super excited about. 10-year-old Ben Rinnes in, I think, refill barrel. So a lot of what I like about this release, it's one of my favorite releases, is the diversity, right? Like we have peat, we have grain, we have rum, we have finished whiskey, we have like more spirit forward whiskey. So it's a lot of fun. But
you're rolling out a couple that you really don't get because, like you said before, they're component parts. They're not usually out by themselves, which is great.
Exactly. Yeah. Basically, most of them are component parts. The Linkwood, Ben Rinnes, the Dal Ewan, those are all big component parts. I will say, Angelo, I really liked your Arthurus shout out. I'm a huge Arthurus fan.
Yeah.
So I have been begging Jason and Joshua, and I'll put it here on wax, on record. Please, Single Cask Nation, let's get some Arthurus.
So now you just hit all of Aaron's spots just now by saying on wax.
We did.
He's a vinyl guy.
Southern California Whiskey Club did on a Thrusk tasting. And I had not really known the distillery at all, except that you couldn't pronounce it the way it's written, and I was totally blown away.
Yeah,
it's good.
The offerings. Oh, really good.
And that other one, the Dal Ewan, or it's Dal Ewan? Is that how you say it, or is it Dalaine? I don't know.
Yeah, Dal Ewan.
I never know how to say it. I've only had it a couple times, and it's also very good.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, all those are Diageo distilleries that are just going into blends and
right.
A lot of Johnny Walker, right?
Or they'll do don't they do like a European release, like that Flora and Fauna series, or one of those every once?
Yeah, they do. They do have the Flora and Fauna, and all of those bottles. There's a Ben Rinnes Flora and Fauna. There's a Linkwood Flora and Fauna. There's a Arthurus Flora and Fauna. I think there's a Dal Ewan Flora and Fauna as well. So, but those are all 43%.
Yeah.
Chill filtered.
Boo.
Yeah. So
which is nice, but it's not like a single case.
Come on. We're 5 guys.
Yeah.
We are the 5 guys of whiskey.
Yeah. You're getting a more muted experience maybe, but I love Diageo releases. I think the Diageo portfolio and the distilleries they have are some of the best.
Just give me Kalila.
Yeah.
Just give me Kalila.
Yes. They're
like the Disney of whiskey. They bought all the IP.
Yeah. That's Aaron. That's my favorite distillery. I think we've had few Kalilas. But I've never had a bad Kalila. I've had Kalilas that are like, not the most spectacular, but even their core release, the Kalila 12, 43%. It's good. It's good.
It's okay. It's all right.
Yeah. I just like the amount of like cast strength, like independent bottlings of Kalila. I'm a sucker for them. I just buy a bunch of Kalila.
So.
You can live only on that, like water.
Yeah.
Right? You don't need anything else.
I've even had some of the unpeated Kalila. I've one of my favorite bottlings is the Kalila 17 unpeated.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was released in 2015. Got a bottle here that just a great distillery. Yeah, huge distillery, but a great distillery.
Yeah.
I'm a society Scotch Malt Whiskey Society member, and they roll out a lot of different whiskeys. And the few distilleries that I actually know the numbers of right off the bat, Kalila's. Okay. I know what that is.
And number 3 is Bowmore.
One to know.
Don't forget number 3.
You get the Bowmore, you get Kalila, you get an Ardmore, and I get Glen Scotia. They're all good.
Yep.
All right, boys, we are coming to the close of our show here tonight. Before we go too far to the end here, any plans for Thanksgiving? What are we doing next week?
Well, for me, go ahead. Good. Well, sorry. Not
That's all right. No, go first.
Yeah, for me, I'm going to actually down to California to see my family down there. But I will actually be, not to pitch Single Cask Nation even more here, but I'll be pouring at the Wine Exchange, which is in Santa Ana. They selected their own single cask. I'll be pouring the 27th, which is Saturday. So if you're doing kind of Black Friday, Cyber Monday shopping that weekend, it's our very first blended Scotch whiskey. Single Cask Nation has never released a blended Scotch whiskey, and this is the very first. So I'll be pouring that on Saturday the 27th. So Wine Exchange, So that's what I'm doing. I got my week planned. So
that's where the winds come from, right? Santa
Ana. Yes, Santa Ana winds. Iconic wind.
Guys, what are we doing? You guys doing family stuff at home?
Mike's making stuffing.
My sister-in-law hosts dinner twice a year. Once for her combined birthday with her husband, and once at Thanksgiving, and never again after that. So we're going over there. And by host, she provides heat for the food, but she doesn't cook much. So, you get like the free turkey because you spent so much at the supermarket. So she'll cook that. And then everyone else brings the rest of it. And my in-laws are Italian. So we have a first course of soup, and then we have a fruit course, and then we have a pasta course. And then we have the whole turkey and all the trimmings, and then we have dessert.
You start eating on Wednesday or Thursday?
Yeah, it's like a 5-hour ordeal. And my sons are enormous at this point, and they are just like, got the eating pants. I'm ready to go. We're heading over. They would start on like Tuesday if my sister-in-law would let them in the house, but you can come at 2, not a minute before. So so it'll be 6 hours of football and eating.
There you go.
It's a glorious day.
That's America, man. That's America.
Ange, what are you doing?
Going to my in-laws. That's what we've been doing. My mother-in-law loves Thanksgiving. She loves making the meal. So we're going over, and I get the honors of dissecting the bird. Oh. So I get that joy.
Sharp, you
turk.
I bring the knives, and we're good. I bring the boning knife, make sure it's sharp, and I'm good to go.
Now, does she use a fryer for the bird, or she put it in the oven, or what does she do?
No. She does the bake. Yeah. She does the bake, and then the joy of Thanksgiving though is the next day, because she makes a pretty good stuffing, and the turkeys. Everything's better the next day, and I do the Gobbler Sandwich.
Yep, turkey stuffing, cranberry, ready to go.
And you gotta pan fry the stuffing. I make it into a patty. I pan fry in a little butter and oil. Let it crisp up.
What is this? This sounds.
What is
good.
this?
I've never had a Gobbler sandwich.
Oh, you do the turkey, the cranberry sauce, which is of course, what is that? Ocean spray in a can.
Ocean spray, jelly.
Ocean spray in a can. Nothing better. None of that artificial crap. Jelly, baby.
Oh my God.
The slices of cranberry jelly. You put You put your little patty of stuffing on top, and then you put a little mayo on the bread, and it's got to be just generic white bread, nothing fancy.
Nope.
Just some Pepperidge Farms homestyle white. We're good to go.
This is a gourmet right here. This is gourmet.
It's delicious.
It's also if you use like a sausage stuffing, they're also good if you slice it up and you use it with like eggs in the morning instead of putting like bacon or something out. You like brown both sides of the stuffing and use that and make it like an eggy cheesy with that. That's another good meal.
Joshua and Jason will be horrified at this discussion right now.
Another good meal.
Absolutely horrified.
Do we drink whiskey with our turkey and our Thanksgiving dinner?
Afterwards.
We could.
Afterwards. Absolutely. With the pie and the coffee.
There you go.
So wait, one last question. Tums, Alka-Seltzer, or Maalox? What do you go for?
Yes.
What's your chaser? What's
Yes.
your DJ
Yes.
Steve?
Take a double.
Tums.
Yeah, I got some reflux coming on already just talking about it.
I'm a Tums.
Okay.
I'm a Tums guy.
Yeah.
Tag him in, baby. Tag him in.
We can't thank you, Elijah, enough for
thank you, Elijah,
tonight and spending a little bit of time with us and
talking
about the
and we finally got to meet
world.
You.
Yeah.
Finally met you virtually.
Yes.
And we await release number 9 so we can get some more samples and get you back on again.
Let's do it.
Anytime. And we'll get you on the pod. You want to do the pod?
I'm of course. I'm ready.
Wait. Hey, here's an idea. We could do one show, one drink. You're a Star Wars guy, right?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
So we could pick one movie, just one, and we could talk about it. And we could drink.
I will go into depth. I'd also suggest my fellow coworker Jess Lomas. She actually just recently went through all the Star Wars too, and you'll have like a long time fan's perspective, and then someone who binge watched all of Star Wars recently.
We need to do this.
So, let me just give my hot take.
I'm in.
Let me just do my hot take. Take, they should have stopped at episode 1 and called it a day. That movie is self-contained. It's perfect. Make no change.
That's a hot take there, Ange.
That's my hot take.
Okay.
You mean
crazy, man.
You mean 4.
Whatever.
You mean 4.
That was all done after the
first
fact,
one.
Right? When they realized that we got $1 billion franchise here.
I completely disagree. And
good. See, we got a discussion going.
Yeah.
I like it.
I can go on
for the podcast.
Yes. Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's a teaser, folks. We call that a teaser in the biz.
Yes.
See,
we should.
And this is why we're a multimedia empire.
Yes.
we have to thank our friends at JVS and Impact for all these wonderful samples.
Thank you.
And Single Cask Nation. Shout out to Jason and Joshua. We are still friends and fans of their wonderful company. Don't forget to check us out on boozdancing.com, and don't forget our podcast, What We Watch When We Drink. And happy Thanksgiving to everyone. This has been a really fun way to start the long Thanksgiving week.
Yep.
Yes. All right. Don't leave yet, Elijah. We're going to just put you in the green room for a second. We're going to do a couple little parting notes, and then we're going to run the credits, and we'll bring you back in, and we'll have a little post-show chat.
Yeah.
Cheers. All right.
Cheers, everyone.
Hang on. Don't go anywhere. All right, gents.
Hey, boys.
What do we think? That stuff is delicious.
That was fun.
That stuff is delicious. I really like this Wolf Island.
I just went out and I booked my summer trip to Wolf Island. They asked for all the money up front and my credit card number. I'm going to guess it was okay.
Nice.
They also wanted my mother's maiden name and what year I graduated high school.
Did they want the last 4 digits of your Social Security?
Yeah, that seems normal, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I am booking my trip to Wolf Island tomorrow.
So let me ask you, though, is there a lodge or is it going to be like tents and outhouses?
I was given a series of pictures of places that may or may not really exist. I'm not sure. One of the buildings, I swear, was Trump Tower.
Wait, here's the most important thing. Are there wolves on Wolf Island?
I really like
That's probably what will happen. I will be mauled by a wolf on Wolf Island.
If you're lucky. If you're lucky.
Get a good travel agent.
Exactly.
So what was your favorite of the 3? Did you pick a favorite? Linkwood, the Water of Life collaboration, or the rum?
It's a tough one because they really are all very good.
They're different, yeah.
I really like the rum. The rum was really fun. There's something on the back end that I can't figure out, and I'll have to experiment. Maybe it's the whole, everything you guys said with a little tobacco, a little salt, a little licorice.
The rubber boot. Yeah.
Yeah. It's good. It's like what are those big ones? The wellies?
Yep. They got us some wellies in the
little
open fermentation tanks. Yep.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's really, really good. But the Wolf Island one, I really like that a lot.
Oh, yeah.
It was good.
Totally.
And you know what really is the kicker, though? It's delicious, and then you got that bottle and label, which is just fantastic.
Yeah.
I love it. Love it.
It was all good. It was good.
Yeah. Any parting shots, boys? Any hot takes?
No hot takes.
Nothing?
I'm waiting for release number. I want release number 9. I
didn't ruin it with my what is it? What was the first one? A New Hope comment, did I?
Oh, no, not at all.
Do we have closing credits for this show, by the way?
Yeah, we do. Shall we roll them?
We are
roll the
more
credits.
professional every time I log on to this thing. Amazing.
What? We got what? What was that? Say that again.
Oh yeah, don't forget to subscribe to our Booze Dancing TV.
Yeah. By all means,
be sure to like us on Facebook.
Exactly. Subscribe to the blog. Just go all Booze Dancing. Go all in. Go all in.
Whole
Put
hog.
it all on black or red. What's your favorite color?
Media
green
conglomerate.
Green.
Gross.
Oh, so 0 and 00?
Double zero. Yeah.
All right, do it. All right, cool. All right, I'm gonna roll the credits.
Roll the credits.
Boom.
All right. Ciao, folks. Thanks for watching.
Cheers.
Where are the credits? Where are the credits? Oh, there they go.